Probably
I don't
makes
know.
sense. Like set the agenda for tomorrow at the very least. That makes
Yeah,
if anyone has anything.
I guess I'll ask, is there anything on the spec that needs to happen first? We have review outstanding spec PRs. Is there anything this group can do to help that? It looks like there's just things that need a lot of approvals by the core team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Stephen, did you get a chance to look at the distribution spec one?
Is it builder distribution spec?
Yeah.
The one that we're just me and Emily haven't approved yet.
So I think I resolved all her comments, just waiting to hear back from her, but also want to give you the opportunity to look at it.
Does this create a, whoa, like what's the high level, the very, very high level change here? Is this adding builder to distribution spec?
Yes, and it's incorporating the removal of stacks as part of all of this effort.
Nice.
So distribution,
great.
Yeah, V3 or O3 will have no stacks.
Awesome. That is wonderful. Yes, I will absolutely take a look. It looks great. Just looking over it right now. Thank you for
Awesome
calling that out. That's really exciting. Any other, should I share my screen on the specs thing and just let me know if there's any other things that anybody knows of that need to get pushed through here?
Yeah, I don't think so. I tagged a couple people last week on certain things to get comments and stuff to make sure we were aligned on some of the blockers for the next release of Lifecycle. But I don't think anything here needs any pushing.
All right, then I'll just go through the RFCs. 2 days ago, Javier, you opened prepare operation. Oh yeah, we need that. Is that one you want to talk about this week or anything, something?
Yeah, we could definitely talk about it. I think there's nothing pressing that would push it back into draft. So yeah, I think it's ready.
All right. RFC PR 202.
You're putting that maybe in the wrong place. I'm not sure.
Oh, is this last
It
week?
looks like the template.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm sure we would find it probably.
We need to create, we don't have an entry for today yet. No, we do. Core, yeah, there we go. Okay. 202. All right. Utility build pack for dot profile. Any context on this? Don't see Mikey here.
It's pretty recent. I would put it on the agenda, even if he's not here tomorrow. Looks like Joe has some context here.
Sounds good. It's not in draft, so I'm going to add core team. Yeah, unless there's some process change I'm not aware of here. Cool. And that's 200. And OCI recommended annotations. Sam?
I'm just in the process of updating it, but I think Emily left some comments around just exposing it as a build pack API thing rather than sourcing them from the project metadata file. So I don't know what we think about this because I don't know if you want to discuss it right now, but platforms have some more metadata than the build packs themselves. So like if the platform loaded the application source code from Git, it will put it in the project metadata toml, which is not accessible to any build pack. And these things map directly to like the OCI annotations. Like they almost have a one-to-one map in some cases. So I don't know if you want to drive this through Project Toml and the project metadata toml, or we just want build packs to have the ability to do that?
Or both, right?
Or both, yeah. I mean, this first cut was just take the information that's already there and put it somewhere, and then change the API. Otherwise, this is not an API change. This is just this is not a build pack API change. It's just a platform API change.
Yeah. If you ignore that the daemon has problems with annotations, this is just like labels, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this at working group or?
Sure.
Cool. I'll put it on the list. And add RFC for cosine integration. Oh yeah. Important stuff. And this is using attestations.
Not yet updated to attestations. I have to do that. But I wasn't even sure whether this was still blocked or not. I'm guessing it isn't anymore. And we can we'll be okay merging this without the daemon removal.
So waiting on more feedback. Do you want to talk about tomorrow?
I just need a yes or no if this this is something we'd be happy to merge without the daemon thing, or do I need to handle cases where do I need to expose some compatibility layer in pack that allows it to add these things later on, like a pack publish or something. So we still have the daemon, but we introduce pack publish that stores all of this somewhere and then pushes it out. And
so Emily wants to block this on figuring out what to do with the daemon. Is that right?
Yeah.
The current state. And so it seems like resolve that with Emily.
Yep.
Is the current thing, and maybe it wouldn't be helpful to bring up tomorrow in the larger meeting. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I've already talked to her about, other things that we shouldn't block based on the daemon stuff. So I think hopefully this falls in that same kind of line where it wouldn't be blocked by that. But it does kind of bring up the question of how does this work within pack if we end up going with a registry only option, right? If the platform's responsible for it.
I definitely lean towards we should support cosine soon. I've gotten I wrote a little bit of code that helps you extract the other SBOM from an existing image, but nobody really knows it's there. And so people don't realize that you can pull the SBOM from an image without pulling the whole image right now, right? And so I think this would help a lot. So I'm definitely supportive of a way we can add cosine to the project. I also agree we should remove the daemon. But it seems like maybe that's a conversation we can pull Emily into and figure it out. Cool. Replace positional arcs in FCP. What does this need?
I think, we need to decide on one of these options for naming the environment variables.
We decided, or Emily and I agreed that we're okay with them overlapping as long as just using the same environment variable names in both contexts, but committing in the RFC to, as part of the other RFC that refactors the platform API, to making them non-conflicting. And then they'll conflict for a API release because they would anyways, I think, and then they'll be non-conflicting once we get the other RFC through. So that should resolve that.
I may not need to update it if we're okay with conflicting, but either way I'll update.
The one thing is, put something in the RFC that says we are going. This is a problem. We're going to solve it.
Sure.
Yeah, cool. And do we need to talk about it tomorrow?
No.
Cool. Support for PackToml.
Don't need to talk about it tomorrow. Javier, so I think you said, I haven't looked at your RFC yet. You said you omitted the PackToml stuff from there. Were you thinking that it would be its own RFC like this one?
Yeah, because I know that there were some individuals that brought up some concerns as to why we would support multiple files, what would be supported in what, and how they would overlay. And so I want to kind of keep those discussions separate from
Sure.
the other thing. And yeah, and I thought
The-
since we already have this, we could kind of bring that conversation here.
But the intent is still that prepare would, like, or your original intent was that prepare would support PAC-TOML. So if it does, that would be part of this RFC too, right?
Yeah, so there's basically a PAC would have a custom preparer, right? So the other RFC,
Right.
the idea of a
Okay.
preparing in the flow, right? And then this RFC would be about PAC leveraging that other RFC to do the things that it needs to for that PAC-TOML.
All right, cool. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it yet. I think it needs some attention first.
Sounds good. 187 images table.
I thought the intent of this one was hopefully to try to get it into project descriptor 02. Doesn't seem like that's feasible now that we have a draft PR for releasing descriptor 02, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. There's some difficult things to think about here still, I think.
Would this be a good one for tomorrow to figure out those difficult things in the larger group? Or is that a smaller meeting?
I would like to figure it out. But I'm not the one driving this. So if others feel it is important, then we should try to get it in.
I think the one drawback is that the author, they don't show up to the working group meetings. So I'm not sure exactly how they would.
Yeah, they've asked to work on this async, which I understand. But I guess that's a good point. Like, we don't need to bring it up in working group, but we should, like, I feel like we should be able to do this async and support this request.
Sounds great. Moving on to add run image SPOM. Anthony, we don't have here.
Think I spoke with Natalie around some of my existing comments. I don't know, Natalie, if you had a chance to speak with Anthony on that from our last officer's discussion.
I did not talk to him, but I agree with your comments.
Seems like this is just waiting for Emily to review for approvals.
Is that true? Would it be able to go in FCP?
We should address those comments at least before we.
Yeah. Sorry.
So do you want to? Sounds like we want to block on those comments, then, right?
I mean, depends on what the process now is with approvals and merging, but yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, because our last conversation was that if the check marks are there,
yeah,
the process means it goes into FCP.
I mean, it already, I think, has all the required votes, right? Terrence, Joe, and someone from VMware voted, which means it's already in.
I'm going to bring this up tomorrow at the working group. And then if we don't have an answer, it's just going to go through. How about that?
Or
I still think that if it goes through as it is, it will cause issues with the Docker files RFC. So it's up to the others to consider the comment and re-review if needed.
Yeah, like the point of the binding votes is, and the way FCP works is, an outright rejection is the thing that stops it. I guess we don't actually have the idea. Oh, no, you can request change. An outright rejection. I think would make it stop. Is that true? Maybe that's not even true.
This has changed since I've last reviewed it, I think. So I'll re-request a review on myself, and then we'll bring it up tomorrow with outstanding questions. Project descriptor blocked, converter blocked.
Yeah, that's I think being over, what is it called? Preceded by the other one, the one that I'm working on.
Got it. Additional exportable layers, Sam.
I think this just came up on our Slack channel when we were discussing like one of the extensions we were talking about, which was like there would be a read-only layer that doesn't get included in the output image by default, and the build pack has to choose what it wants to put, and it can put it in multiple places. So
It's a big change that's been running for a long time. Is it worth bringing up tomorrow so we can try to get closer to resolution, or is it still kind of happening asynchronously, albeit slowly?
I mean, it just depends on priorities. If we have, I would rather have us discuss like the cosine stuff and all the other daemon stuff before this. If we have time, we can discuss this.
Got it. So I will move it over, but I'll put low priority on it. List. Cool. And system build packs, Joe. FCP. Anything?
Yeah, I don't think there's any updates.
Support Docker files. Am I supposed to do something here? I'm probably supposed to do something here.
I made a bunch of suggestions based on the conversation that happened 2 weeks ago in office hours. I think there's still, Jesse brought up a question around Docker files that are extending the build image and additional restrictions that we might need to place on those. I think those are the outstanding questions.
Awesome. So there's work to be done here, but it doesn't seem like it's something we should talk about. It's just I need to look through these things and hit the commit buttons and then see if there are any questions. Cool. And then make build layers, last but not least, make build layers read only for subsequent build packs.
That's blocked.
So blocked.
Blocked. Okay. Cool. And going back to the agenda, the ones we selected were, they don't have names on them. 202, prepare, wait, names to them here, prepare phase. 200, which was dot profile. 196, which is annotations. 186, which is run image SBOM. And the low priority 181 exportable layers. How do we want to allocate time? Anybody want to opt for their favorite thing to be first?
Sorry, is run image SBOM still on the agenda?
Yep.
I would prefer if we just sort that out first and get it through.
Sounds good. Did you say you wanted cosine here? Because I didn't.
Yeah, I think my preferred order would be run images from cosine and then everything else.
I didn't see cosine. Did we say we were going to add that one? 195 wasn't added. Okay. Maybe I just missed it. So run image SBOM, cosine, and then Javier prepare phase.
Yeah, I could give a quick run through on that. I don't expect too much time.
And then maybe profile was added recently. That's just to check to see if we need to talk about anything. Check with author, may show up. And then does anybody want to advocate that annotations is super important and should come before any of those other ones? Going once, going twice. It's at the end. Do we still allocate minutes to these?
I think we usually just list them out. I don't think we've been doing it.
Okay, cool. I realize we did spec release PR overview, but we didn't have folks here to do at the time to do spec release planning. Is there any spec release planning activities that we need to take a look at?
The PR 282, I left a couple comments for project descriptor 02. I don't know what the status for that is, but I'm assuming we'd want that out soon.
I think this is interesting because like today, like some folks internally were asking about some of the features that are already in pack and released, and they're like, we couldn't find this documented anywhere, but it's already implemented, released, people are using it. It's just.
Yep, that's why I want to get this on there.
Cool.
So I don't know what the process for this is, but I think we wanted to do this PR to kind of review everything. Like I said, I left some comments. I don't know if there's an owner for doing the release, if that's Terrence, and if we're just waiting for him on that.
Do I need to add the core team so everybody can approve? All right. See a thumbs up. And this is something that is already implemented and we missed. It needs to get added to the spec. Is that right?
It's not that we missed it, it's that we implemented it while we were writing the spec.
We already shipped it in the implementation and we didn't add it to the spec. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So we should expedite.
Yep.
Core team. Released in the life cycle.
This is a pack thing, platform thing right now.
Cool. All right. So any other spec release planning activities? Seems like no. Anything else we want to add to the agenda for tomorrow? Going once, going twice. All right. And I think that's it. 2 minutes early. Thanks, everybody.